Hey folks, Guy with Long Range Tactics here. Just want to say welcome to the first episode of Long Range Duels. I am joined by John Selinsky and then Travis. We are going to go over some hot button issues in the shooting arena tonight. Everybody's chewing on a little bit of something, drinking on a little bit of something. We're going to have a good time. So I'm going to be your moderator. My name is Guy, and we're going to get straight into it. So our first duel tonight is 6'5 Creedmoor versus 308 Winchester getting into the PRS. Now, this topic we've seen a lot within the Long Range Tactics Facebook page about, hey, I'm new to shooting long range. I'm new to shooting PRS matches or NRL matches or just local club series, and I want to get into it, but I'm overwhelmed with all the information that's out there. I'm new. I don't have the reloading capability yet, so I need to purchase a rifle that's chambered in a caliber that's readily available off the shelf. And you get a lot of recce snipers on the old Facebook pages that will sit there and be, 308 is God's caliber for long range, but new stuff has come along, being 6'5 Creedmoor. So tonight we're going to discuss the pros and cons of 6'5 Creedmoor versus 308 Winchester when getting into the PRS precision rifle type shooting of matches. So, Travis, we're going to start off with you. You are going to be on the 6'5 Creedmoor, arguing for. John, you're going to be arguing for 308 Winchester. So,
Alrighty.
We're going to go ahead and sing how 308's been around since everybody's grandpa. We'll go ahead and let John start off on why we should be shooting 308 Winchester in PRS.
So the biggest thing with 308 that it allows you to do is you're immediately going to start off in tactical class. So you're not immediately getting compared to all the guys shooting 6 GT or 6 Creedmoor or whatever the newest sauce is that they've had years and 4 different rifles to kind of figure out and do load development and all this extra stuff. So you're going to start out in tactical class. So as long as you're shooting a mild load, you're only competing against other 308s or guys shooting 223.
Okay. What do you got, Travis?
I could look at it both ways because I like what the 308 could offer for learning wind and learning what's going on downrange. Because if you sneeze, the bullet's going this way. As of like a 6.5 Creed, extremely good factory ammo. You got prime ammunition, you got Hornady, you got a whole bunch of growing mom and pop shops that are creating factory ammo that you could run in a production class, you can run in a hunter's class, you can run anything from a 140 ELDM with like a G7 of confirmed 301, or you can run a 147 with my personal confirmed G7 of 330 out past a mile. Very, very good quality ammo. It's always going to come in right around 10 SD. You can find them everywhere now. Hornady has promoted the crap out of it. You can find ammo everywhere. Everybody can get it. And the best thing is your G7 drag model is significantly higher than any 308 production ammo, unless you get into a monolithic bullet. And you're going to be able to buck the wind. You're going to have a little less drop. I think the last factory ammo that I chronoed was coming in right at, it was either 2725 or 2730 area. And it performed. It came in at like a 7.5 SD with 10 rounds with Hornady factory right off the shelf.
So what kind of barrel life are you getting out of your 6.5 though? Since you're running these high SDs, or not high SDs, but these higher velocities.
My last 6.5 barrel lasted about 3,500 rounds, and I think with the 308, you're right around 2,500.
10,000. No, it depends on the ammo. We usually ran about 10,000 rounds before it would get rebarreled. So that's another huge advantage to the 308 is you've got a lot longer barrel life than you do on a 6.5. So if you're getting a new guy that maybe just wants to do more practice than matches, you can get a lot of benefit from that without having to change anything on the rifle.
That one needs you.
So we're looking at one, we can shoot in tactical class for the 308. We can shoot in tactical class. So we're going to be competing against guys that are shooting strictly the 308 and the 223 round. We have longer barrel life, which is going to save money in the long run.
Yep.
Right. For
and then you run into the
price of a barrel, the price of getting it chambered, spun on, because the new guy probably isn't a gunsmith.
Yep. And then you also run into kind of like what Travis was talking about earlier, the advanced learning curve. If you're starting into long range shooting, you need to learn all the fundamentals first. And when you're shooting something that cuts wind really efficiently, you don't pay attention to the wind at all. So starting out with 308 forces you to pay attention to it. And then when you move on to something later that cuts the wind a lot better, even though you won't need to pay attention to the wind as much, you're still going to pick up on those differences, because even though that difference may not be a miss with whatever your Wildcat cartridge is, with 308 it will be. And so you'll kind of pick up on those small changes a lot easier if you start out with a caliber. It's less forgiving.
Yeah, but you got a significantly high recoil. So anytime you go out of position, you're going to get bucked off. And as a shooter, most all shooters know when they step up to the line, they don't got no one spotting for them. So if you continually miss, let's say 2-3 tenths to the left, and maybe a tenth or two low, you're not going to be able to catch that in your scope. You're going to get bucked off every time. I've seen a couple shooters very effectively do it with 308, but that's what they train on every day, prepping for the match, hitting small targets, and they're just kind of like what you're saying. And we got into about the training aspect of the caliper. Like I said, I could argue this both ways, but I've seen a lot of really top tier shooters train the crap out of a 308 and then move over to their match gun. Let's say anywhere from a 6.5 to 6 BRA, 6 GT, because they're using that to train and to get their fundamentals down so key that they spot their vapor trails pretty much a couple hundred yards downrange to know if they're going to miss and be able to correct that before the bullet hits. I should say hits their target or their. I'm sorry, I'm mumbling. Got my kids yelling, but just it's nice to be able to know what a vapor trail looks like as a newer shooter. And it's hard to do that when you got the buck of a 308. Even if you have a very aggressive break, to get rid of that in a 308, you're going to have to step into a very heavy contour, very heavy setup, a very aggressive break, and you're pretty much getting yourself out of the budget range and into open class anyway, because you're going to have to spend the money to get there.
So I would say the increased recoil could, because I agree it can beat up some shooters. It could be an advantage. Kind of like you said, with you get some of those experienced shooters train with a 308 because it perfects their positions. It's kind of going back to like it's a different tangent, but shooting sling with a sling standing. Personally, I don't, because people tend to use it as a crutch. So if you start somebody off brand new with a hotter rod caliber that doesn't have any recoil, they don't know what a solid position is because they don't ever need one. They never feel recoil. They've got a good break on a flat shooting round. It never moves, so they don't need to perfect their standing or barricade position, because if it's not perfect, yeah, they move a little bit, but not enough for them to really realize that their position was inefficient. When you throw them with that 308, like you said, if your position's off by a little bit, you're going to get moved off a lot worse just due to that recoil. It's going to force you to really focus on having stable, solid positions. And that way, when you move to those other calibers later on, you don't ever have to worry about your positions.
Yeah, when you speak about moving to other calibers later on, that kind of looks at like buyer's remorse. You know you're going to go down into something like a 6.5 Creed or a 6 Creed or 6 GT. You know you're going to move there, so you ended up costing yourself more money in the long run, because now you're going to have to re-spool up on components. You're going to have to re-spool up on reloading gear. Most likely you're going to be switching powders. You're going to be switching bullets. So with that added cost, last time I added it up, I thought about switching to, let's say, like a Dasher or BRA. I have thousands of rounds of Creedmoor, just 6.5 and 6 lying around. And it's like, might as well use it. I got 4 kids. I don't want to be spending extra money I don't need to. So with that point of it, it's like, yeah, I probably would start off with a 6.5 Creed, slinging either a 140 ELDM. if I'm shooting factory, or a 147 if I have a heavier gun, because I actually have very good success with that shooting in matches. But it would be hard to justify for me. I'm a data guy, man. I run so many.
Yeah, we both know that.
I am huge on data. I love graphing out and Exceling all my stuff to figure out what would give me the advantage.
Mm-hmm.
And realistically, if I have a lower node, I'm going to go with that lower node. If my SDs and my ESs are way tighter, and it's just showing me that repeatedly. And when I test my lots, I like to randomly test it. It's like, it's not like I know these 10 are perfect, I'm going to run these 10. No, I want to just mix them all up, grab random ones, throw them over the chronograph, and there's my data. But I think it would be more of a buyer's remorse in the long run, because you're going to get maybe one season in and you're like, oh, now I got a $700 pre-fit barrel. I got to buy new dies. That's $200-$300. Then I need brass. And it's like, man, I wish I would have just had all that brass to reload right now, or what my people left on the range or whatever, etc.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, you're going to run into that a little bit, even going with six Creedmoor initially. I mean, look at a typical PRS range. How many people are actually shooting 6.5 and 308? Most of them have moved on to 6 or the 6 GT. Or
in the last 2 years, it's probably less than 2%. Everybody's shooting either BRA, Dasher, GT.
Yeah.
I think the hottest one right now is GT.
Yeah, GT is a pretty hot one right
praise now. Alpha Numerics for jumping in and just producing brass, because I think that is fueling the fire, just like Hornady did with the 6.5 Creedmoor.
Yeah.
It's like it's available. You can find it. And it's high quality, good stuff at a reasonable price.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So speaking a little bit to my own stuff here, like when I built my first precision rifle, it was on a Trude 700 Action, and my gunsmith at the time was like, hey man, do you want 308 or do you want 6.5 Creedmoor? And this is when 6.5 like just hit the street. It was the bee's knees. Everybody's buying it up. You could hardly find a box of ammo, let alone that you can find ammo now. But it was super, super hot. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, like, should I shoot 6.5 Creedmoor or should I shoot 308 and learn? And I did that, and I went down the 308 route, and I got my reloading press right behind me, like set up for 308, good to go. But I went and built a 6.5 anyways. And now I went and bought a PMR Pro in 223 so I can shoot production class. And I got 3 years left in the military, so I'm going to build another gun. That way I shouldn't need another gun once I get out of the military. But that's probably going to be, shouldn't need a bolt gun.
Your wife's not listening to this, right?
I
don't
buy another gun ever again.
She just got a new flash, so for her camera, for her business. So
you're justifying that way, right?
For sure. So she got a $200 and some odd flash. I can get a $650 Action. It'll be fine. I mean, I got the certificate right here. I'm getting it half off. I'm saving money, right?
Yeah, of course.
So, I'm probably going to build a 6 GT. And I've kind of gone back and forth, like, BR, 6 GT, like,
dude,
it's the year of the Tiger, like XYZ, like.
With the way brass is, I might do like a 243 variants, like a super long range, because there's 243 brass everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With what's going on today, obviously a year or two from now, everything will pan out, I hope. But as of right
let's
now,
let's say in 6 months, everything will pan out.
Q2 of next year. But maybe like SLR might be the hot chamber next year, because you can get 243 brass.
Yeah.
But you're still fighting for 6 mil bullets at that point.
You could probably find some 80 grainers. This could be real fun. Let's see how good the PCs are.
Hey,
Okay.
hey, don't knock the 80 grainers. I'm building
Hey,
a 323 rifle right now to shoot 80s.
I went to my local shop today. They had some like 80 or 90 grain Nosler partitions, and I'm like, ooh, this could be real interesting.
This could get interesting. Okay, so let's wrap this one up. So we've got 6.5 Creedmoor. We've got quality ammo available. We've got it can buck the wind. You're going to have less drop than your 308. Your barrel life is getting about 3,500 rounds. You've got reduced recoil, and then some people may find themselves having buyer's remorse based on if I got a 308, I'm not as happy as I think I would be if they got a 6.5 Creedmoor. So you can factor in buyer's remorse to a point there. And then for our 308, it's, it's God's rifle caliber. You can be in tactical class, which is 308 and 223 exclusively. In that, you're shooting 10,000 rounds out of that barrel, which is going to save you money because you're not going to need to rebarrel. Everything should be good. Ammo price-wise is probably close
It's about
to
evened out.
It's about even now, right?
It used to be a lot cheaper than 6.5, but they've about evened out now.
Right. I haven't been able to find that $20 a box for 168 gold medal match anywhere, and it's kind of irritating me.
Well,
I
you
don't
can
think
find
308
9mm
exists
for
anywhere right
$9 a piece, or 6.5 PRC for $4.50 a piece.
The local gun store, $40 for 50 rounds of 9mm.
That's what mine are charging.
Yeah.
And that's for a ball. If it's hollow point, it's $60 a box.
Yeah, and I'm sitting on like 3,000 or 4,000 rounds. I'm just like, my homies need me. All right, so for the 6.5 Creedmoor versus 308, getting into PRS for that new shooter. In the mind of a new shooter, everybody wants to get hits, right? So if we were to pick one, seeing as how there's 3 of us on tonight, if we were to pick one and go with one select choice for a newbie getting into PRS, looking back, I would go for a 6.5 Creedmoor round in a rifle right off the bat. Now, seeing as how I assigned you guys which topic you guys were going to say, what is your personal opinion of a new shooter getting into the PRS or NRL long distance shooting? Is it 308 or 6.5 Creedmoor? Between those two options, not your your GTs or anything else like that. If it was your new guy walking into a Cabela's or a Bass Pro, looking at a Ruger precision rifle, or looking at one of the Howas or the Bagaras, what caliber would you recommend to them?
For me, I would recommend 6.5.
Okay.
Mainly because the 308 argument proof, much as I love 308, I grew up on 308. I've shot tens of thousands of rounds of it. And there's a lot of advantages to it. The way 6.5 production has gone the last 5 years has, like we just talked about, ammo prices are now on par with 308, which when it first came out and everyone was like the 6.5 guys, and they were like the USPSA shooters of PRS. And they were just like the redheaded stepchildren because they just went and played in the corner with their 6.5s. They were paying twice as much as 308 shooters were. There wasn't as good of rifles at the time. So my custom 308 drastically outperformed their 6.5. But with how it's gone now, especially with your RPRs and 6.5, your Howas, stuff, you can get a 6.5 under $1,000.
Yeah, Bagara.
Yeah.
A lot of them. Me personally, I would do 6.5. When I got into this, I started out with actually 6.5 by 47 Lapua. It's still my absolute favorite round.
That's a solid round.
It is a great round.
Love it, love it, love it. I dream about it. It's stupid, but I've had 2 6.5 Creed barrels, and I absolutely love it because when it comes to the training aspect, most of the time anymore, when I take shooters out, they're shooting the same thing. So it's really easy to just help them dial in. It's like, hey, what bullet you shoot, and it's like I can jump on my applied ballistics and I can pull out of the bullet library because Brian's done such a good job over the last couple of years of keeping true BCs. I hardly ever have to touch a BC anymore unless I'm going past 1,200 yards. And then it's small changes. And you always notice that BC change at 850. Like, I get people asking it all the time. They're like, it's like when you hit 850, it's a wall. What's going on? It's like, well, here, let's dial you in. This is what I know that's going on, and let's see if we can fix it real quick. But it's just solid. I enjoy it. I love the 140 Burger hybrids. I love the 147 ELDMs. They just a very, very proven round, and there's still a lot of people switching up. If you watch anything around social media, people are switching back up because they miss their 6.5s and they're just training with them again. So it's kind of cool.
Sweet. All right, guys. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us here at Long Range Tactics on Long Range Duels for their inaugural episode, 6.5 versus 308 for getting started in the PRS. Hope to see you guys at the range. Take care.